Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show here on the Kokomo Post, partnered with Robert Miller and Son Furniture in Kokomo. My name is Drew Larison. This is MTM, also known as Mayor Tyler Moore. And Mr. Mayor, how the heck are you?
I am great. I'm recovering from a bang-up busy weekend.
Good for you.
So,
wait, is that a good thing?
It should be a good thing, but my daughter that's getting married here in a few weeks had to be, she and her fiance had to be out of their respective apartments by today and move into their new one yesterday. And so guess what we did all day yesterday?
You helped them move.
We helped them move.
You sore?
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody asked me what the most exciting thing about my weekend was, and I said, I reorganized the linen closet.
Ooh. That's a feat in itself.
I think that's about it. Like, that was the weekend. It was just like a lot of just being at our house and doing stuff like that. But, you know, I'm an adult.
But no, Saturday was full because the VFW up on the North Washington sponsored or hosted the Gold Star Family Tribute Wall all weekend. And then as part of that had the Huey helicopter giving rides from Friday afternoon through Sunday afternoon.
That
and I tell
makes
you what,
sense.
We saw the helicopter and we kind of got scared.
Well, as soon as they started Friday afternoon, phone calls, emails, what's going on, posts on social media, what's with the helicopter? It's like, hey, come down to North Washington and
we saw it on Sunday, didn't we?
We did see it on Sunday, and immediately, I took to the social media to see if I could
well, and I mean,
determine.
Honestly, like with the horrible event that happened in Pennsylvania this weekend with former President Trump, like I'm already on like edge, you know? So then I see like this military helicopter like flying really low over like Washington Street. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So yeah, that's where my head went. But yeah, it kind of freaked me out because it was so low. It wasn't normal. Like Aaron's like, they're looking for somebody. I'm like, no, I don't know what's going on.
I was straight conspiracy theory. I really was.
I think we all are a little bit right now. But anyway, let's give a shout out to Robert Miller and Son Furniture. They're the main partner for the show. So during this hot summer, shop for handcrafted Smith Brothers furniture so that you can relax indoors in luxury. Enjoy 30% off all Smith Brothers furniture pieces. Robert Miller and Son has the guaranteed lowest prices. So come in today and seize those savings. If you've watched the show, you hear me talk about it is some of the most comfortable furniture you'll ever experience in your life. Robert Miller and Son, they sell that Smith Brothers Amish made furniture.
Quality, man.
Up in Huntington, Indiana, I think is
Burns.
where it's
Burns,
Indiana. Yeah. Really good stuff. And you can get 30% off right now, which is a large discount on that quality of furniture. So you had a good weekend. What's going on at City Hall this week?
Since we're halfway through the month of July, the Kokomo Parks Department is halfway through their Play on Kokomo photo contest. Okay. So hashtag Play on Kokomo 2024. Folks that are enjoying all that Kokomo has to offer, that is constantly being highlighted and mentioned on the Kokomo Post because there's all kinds of things going on. They can take pictures at Kokomo Beach, on the trails, at a concert, at a Jackrabbits game, whatever they're doing in Kokomo, submit it to the Parks Department, again, marking it with the hashtag Play on Kokomo 2024. They receive all those entries, and a small committee, myself not included, with the Parks Department then goes through all of those that are submitted, come up with 3 winners and offer them some prizes.
Love that. Very cool. So school starts back in like 2 weeks.
I know. That's crazy in itself.
Yeah, we're talking to my kids this weekend about it, and one of them's ready to go back. The other one doesn't know, but like, yeah, August 1st, Kokomo School's back in action.
Okay. So with that in mind, I know folks that have children that go to what used to be the old Kokomo High School. It's now Central Middle School, the International School. There's some serious sanitation work being done along Superior Street on the north side of the school, and then down Union on the west side. A lot of that hopefully will be done by August 1st, but chances are it may not. And so those with students either that they're dropping off or will be picking up buses and such there, stay tuned for more information from Kokomo Schools in regards to how that's going to look, depending on the timing that the contractor has for that work.
Okay, so, good to hear. We have 12 pre-show questions today.
Awesome.
Got a lot of questions. And if you're watching live and you have a question for the mayor, leave it in the chat. I see Lori in the chat right now. I see other people in there. So just leave a comment in the chat. I have it all pulled up on my laptop. So I pull over questions when I see them live and we go from there. But we have 12 that you guys sent in before the show, whether that is, we have questions from Instagram, Facebook, even more Reddit questions today. So you can get a hold of us.
It's becoming popular.
People love the Reddit. It was one of those things, like I said a few weeks ago, we kind of discovered there is a Reddit community here in Kokomo. So we want to make sure if they have questions, they can get them to us.
Well, and shout out, that actually came to us from the Reddit community. They reached out to us and said, hey, I think you might actually get some really good questions. And I think the last time you guys did a slew of Reddit questions, they appreciated it. And so keep them coming, guys.
Love that.
Sweet. Cool.
All right. So the first question comes from Facebook today, from Carolyn on Facebook.
Okay.
Respectfully, my opinion, money was wasted in the design of the streets around the old downtown Kokomo High School. Along the path of Apperson was absolutely terrible management decision. Horrible for the safety of Kokomo community, with the fire trucks and ambulances being able to navigate safely. Such a waste of revenue. Secondly, we need more available shopping on the south side of Kokomo. Carolyn on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah. So, a lot of what was done along Apperson, we've addressed a few things. I know one that's coming up recently, as soon as they're done with the Webster Street on the south, which was another area that we wanted to address and kind of open up a little bit. We're doing that on North Apperson in front of Second Missionary Baptist Church there in that little stretch. But just small modifications here and there. I know we took out the iron railings that were around a lot of the medians. The idea or concept behind that, as she may or may not know, and many others, was to try and slow traffic down. When traffic lanes are reduced in size, it's supposed to act more as a deterrent for speed. There's been some that are concerned with that for the reasons she kind of mentioned, fire trucks and ambulances. So we're just continue to navigate and work on those, or those emergency vehicles, finding different routes with areas that are a little wider and easier to maneuver, do that accordingly. But I know going forward, we're trying not to do as drastic of alterations to streets and roads. There'll be a few that may get narrowed. I know Hoffer Street has been on everybody's mind, actually since before I even took office, that was in the community crossings application the last few years. Is finally going to get addressed, and the west section of that from Home, just east of Home Avenue intersection there by the Humane Society down to Plates will be reduced in size and lanes, but will continue to stay 4-lane from Plate out to 931. So a little bit of adjustment there in those areas because there's heavier residential in that stretch, but that was kind of the idea.
Okay.
That we address it as we move forward.
Okay. And her second question.
Oh, the shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know a lot of that, a lot of the retail is centered around both malls and the Markland stretch, even Boulevard up through there. So as space becomes available, I'm sure if retail is interested, they would look to those areas. Not to say that there hasn't, but a lot of it just has to do with availability and space or the ground that a particular retailer may be interested in. We can reach out and say, we'd love to have you here, here, and here, but ultimately their site selectors are going to help those corporations decide where they may land when they come.
Okay, gotcha. Next question is from Janet on Facebook, and honestly, Janet just kind of laid it all out. Okay. She says, streets need fixed.
Yes, they do.
Drug trafficking. Harder sentences for drug offenders, especially repeat offenders, doing something about all the panhandlers on almost every corner here in Kokomo. It's disgusting. Janet on Facebook.
Okay. So streets, I agree. We try to get to as many as we can. Time, resources, other projects and such a lot of times affect how much we're able to do. But kudos to our street department for what they're able to knock out, engineering as well, what they're able to contract and have done. We try to address and repave or resurface anywhere from 8 to 10, 11, 12 miles of the over or close to 700 lane miles in the city of and alleyways as well. And so, part of the initiative these last 2 years are also addressing some of the alleyways that have been neglected for decades as well. So getting to them as we can. I know we've talked about it many times before on the show. We do an assessment of the streets and roads every year, get them a classification, prioritize, and try to get those on a list to address. So continuing to get to those. Drug trafficking, again, kudos to KPD. We're being more aggressive, more offensive versus defensive, or active versus reactive in a lot of cases. And actually a lot of the activity and incidents have dropped, even though there may be the appearance that they're up. It's because we are being more active and aggressive. So proud of what we're able to do with that, with the limited number of bodies that we still have and are trying to continue to increase. And then as for the panhandlers, unfortunately, there's nothing right now on the books that prevents that unless they are becoming a safety hazard or a hindrance to traffic. So if they're getting aggressive to vehicles, the folks can call KPD and that. But if they're just standing, I mean, it is unfortunate. We don't always know those individuals' circumstances in life. And so it can get frustrating, does become unsightly, but I know we do what we can to try and encourage them to move on. But if they're standing and they're not creating a safety hazard or intrusion on traffic, there's nothing legally we can do at this point, because there's nothing formally on the books that would prohibit that.
Okay. Getting more live questions here as well. Next question is from Brenda on Facebook. Is Chick-fil-A going to happen in Kokomo?
Chick-fil-A, as far as we know, is still going to happen. They being the Chick-fil-A corporate, is still in discussions with the property manager in regards to coming up with the best way to design and navigate the parking lot on which the restaurant will sit. I know we've already talked about having the access there on the south end of the parking lot to the side road through to the south end exit to 931. But it's our understanding they're still working with the property manager to come up with the best way to navigate that, because there is additional retail in that area.
So there's any timeline estimate on that? I think when the first asked you said potentially by like November
this fall,
this year or something like that.
They would love, it's my understanding that they would love to still break ground and knock it out and be done by the end of the year. So we shall see.
All right, next question is from Robin on Facebook. I think this question gets asked multiple times a day, but when are our streets going to be fixed? My tires are not that old and they are already in trouble.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we try to address as much as we can, given time, weather, resources. And so if there's any in particular that need addressed, that she travels on a regular basis, she can let us know. You can shoot me an email, mayor@cityofkokomo.org, and I can get those, see where they fall on the list of things that need addressed. And if it's something that we can patch temporarily before a full resurfacing, I would be happy to consider checking that out as well.
Okay. Next question from Susan on Facebook. What is the status of the Garden Square relocation, and is there a time limit for the developers to secure the funding by?
The timeline, I mean, they were still on hold because some may have forgotten, because it's been well over a year since there was a discussion of that. So they were splitting up the Garden Square footprint into two separate housing facility locations, and then about 30 scattered sites. Which, when I say scattered sites, it's just individual lots. So the Kokomo Housing Authority currently owns a handful of properties that have single-family homes on them that may be either just single-family, or they may be 1 to 4 family, meaning it may have apartments. Or more than one units within that home. And so splitting up the 175-ish units at Garden Square, they were doing, 40 some out on West Sycamore, close to 80, between 80 and 90 at North and Market Street. And then, like I said, then the additional 30 scattered sites. They split up the application, but tied all the projects basically to both. Got one approved, didn't get the other one approved. We haven't heard an update on this year's application or request, but we haven't heard back from the developer to see if they are going to pull the trigger and just do a small portion of the units out of the application that was approved and do the others, and bring the others online later. But like I said, we've not heard an update on where they are on that. As for a timeline of financing, that's probably both where the company is securing their financing and with the Department of HUD, what type of time restrictions they may place on them as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it'd be up to their lender.
Okay. Before we continue, I just want to call out Annette in the chat. Relax. I said before the show, I have over 10 questions already in the pre-chat. This is not a McDonald's drive-thru where you can just leave a comment in the chat and you're going to get answered right away. Relax. I've written down your question. I'll get to it in a second. No one's skipping over you. Everything's fine. I'll ask your question.
And I'll try to make my answers not
no,
as
windy. You're not doing anything wrong. She's just, it is
we're good.
Showing lack of patience here. Next question is from Kim on Facebook. Can 100 East between State Road 26 and Center Road get paved? That road is terrible.
100 East between...
That's city, but...
Oh, so... Say that again.
Can 100 East between State Road 26 and Center Road get paved?
That should still be city limits, so we will definitely look into where that falls in the potential list of projects. So I'll try and remember 100 East between 26 and Center. Okay.
Okay, he's got it. Next question is from Henry on Facebook. And it's a long one, so buckle up here for a second.
Okay.
Not sure the day, but it was when we got bad winds from that last hurricane that came through. On Maple and Dixon Road, I saw a fire truck across the street, and then another after they left the city had come in and picked up the debris left behind, which there was a lot of limbs and stuff that day. Mm-hmm. There was a front loader and 2 city dump trucks parked right next to a house on the corner where there was a big part of a tree had fallen onto their lawn and not far from the dump trucks were parked at. But instead, I see one of the people get out of their truck and smoke a cigarette, but instead of using the manpower to pull that tree closer to the road so the tractor could grab a hold of it and dump it in the truck. So a couple days went by. I saw that it was still there. I was going to go and drag it to myself. I was getting ready to go. And then I saw an old man using a chainsaw to cut it up, and that does not even live there, to put it across the road. The lady has lived there, and I heard she's been living there for a very long time. Heard she was disabled and her husband had passed away. Is this the way we treat our city of Kokomo? Are cigarettes more important to them than dragging a tree so it can be picked up? I just wish I could have recorded it so you could see it for yourself. What a disappointment this was to see. Thank you for reading my post, and hopefully it gets addressed. Henry on Facebook.
Well, I'm going to assume that the limb's already been addressed, and so
possibly it sounds
if having it addressed is like going back to maybe the street department or supervisor, whoever might have been on call for that, to say, hey, let's do better. Definitely we'll do that and look into that to get more details on the specific incident. A lot of times too, because trees are on private property, we can't just go on and take something off without property owner's permission. If the lady owned the home and was able to give permission, that might, have helped. But that could have been something that we got called to it, but was told, okay, hold on, time out. We need permission to enter the property. We need permission to, or maybe if there was damage done on the property as well, that the insurance adjuster needed to come out and see what might have been doing. I mean, so he may have just been at bay waiting, for further direction to assist again. But I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just trying to maybe understand why he would have been standing there instead of doing work. But a lot of times, especially in weather-related incidents, they've got to wait. I mean, even when tornadoes come through and such, I mean, as much as you want to do, there's a lot of times too that people need to wait for insurance adjusters or something to see if there's things that need to be done, or maybe if if the woman was there and she was contacting her son or daughter or something, they come and check out to see the damage or see what they wanted to do or have done. Just don't know. But again, with the appearance that it was, I'm going to definitely look into the details of that and see what, if anything, can be addressed.
Got it. Okay. Next question is from Kokomo Toys on Instagram. Ooh. Will we see more investment to attract more retail businesses downtown?
Yes. Great. I mean, the August 13th, he's welcome to come half a block to the groundbreaking for the Hotel and Conference Center. I think once the Hotel and Conference Center is up, that will encourage additional retail, if he's hoping for additional retail to bring people down and kind of work their way into the shop. But yeah, there's that. There's a handful of housing being done as well. The old Tribune building, the old Cortland building is under new ownership, and so that's going to be happening. So with the amount of housing that's coming downtown, hopefully that's bringing a handful of foot traffic as well that will also encourage and hopefully spark some retail.
Got it. Okay. So, next question is from Urban Bug. Urban_bug, let's get specific, on Instagram. Who is pocketing all the Haynes-Apperson money?
The Haynes-Apperson Committee. So, I mean, the food vendors that pay to participate in the Haynes-Apperson, the sponsorships that are collected to go towards, because the music acts that isn't covered by the city of Kokomo. Those are outside of our summer concert series, so that's the Haynes-Apperson Committee itself. So any funds that are received go to the Haynes-Apperson Committee to then fund next year's Haynes-Apperson Committee. All the food vendors and the ride companies, the amusement ride companies, the tickets they sell, the food they sell, that's their profits. So whatever they collect for that is that. Pioneer Auto Club, I don't know if I forget if they charge a registration fee for the car show. That goes back into the Pioneer Auto Clubs for their awards and other car shows and such. And so all the revenue that comes in goes back into either the Haynes-Apperson, Pioneer Auto Club, whatever, to then get rolled into future events.
Gotcha. Okay. The next question is from Makiba on Facebook. Okay. Hope I pronounced that right. Sorry if I didn't. When is Kokomo going to try to buy some of these abandoned buildings and turn them into family homeless shelters? Makiba on Facebook.
So a handful of the either abandoned buildings or even vacant lots, the city has taken over, and we're making a lot of those available to developers that want to put homes up as part of our property infill program. Some of those that may be abandoned or vacant may still be privately owned, and as long as the property owners are paying property taxes and paying the liens that may be assessed for demolitions or for weeds or any type of rehab, I mean, there's nothing legally we can do to force them to sell or rehab those, again, if they're paying their property taxes. But as for kind of scattered homeless shelters, that would require either additional investment or additional staffing and such. It's easier for, I think, those that provide shelter or housing for homeless individuals to have, a larger single facility just to better monitor and support and provide necessities to those individuals. So don't know if there's necessarily now. I know there are a few individuals that, as part of their small, whether they're officially a non-for-profit or not, I mean, are buying up homes and renovating them and making them available to individuals that may qualify for that. I know Bridges Outreach is working with the city. They had been doing renovation of homes in partnership with the city, and now we're shifting that to not only remodels but also adding some new construction, and they make those available first to the alumni for their Bridges program. And if there's not anyone interested or available, then they make it available to others. But those are income qualified homes and not just homes for homeless individuals. I mean, it is those that do have some source of income so that they can then qualify and be part of that program. So there's a small handful of programs like that.
Okay. Next question comes from Reddit from D Anderson 193.
Okay.
Is there any plan to create a more walkable community outside of the downtown area? For example, connecting the east side of Kokomo to the west side of Kokomo across 931 via pedestrian walkway or bridge?
So I think this has come up before as well, and we would love to extend the trail system or those pedestrian walkways. And those opportunities lie within the rail lines. And so we've been in communication with a few railroad companies that own those lines that are inactive but not officially abandoned. And so since they're not abandoned and still the potential to be activated, they maintain them as they wish, but also at the same time are not as willing to, come down in potential price in making those available. So we are looking at opportunities. We are still poking the railroads to see if that, and I get that you can say, okay, well then don't worry about the rail lines, just put paths elsewhere. Therein lies the issue, since the rail's already occupied and owned by a single owner. If you look to running things through neighborhoods or other areas, the city would have to work with every single property owner along a given line and purchase an easement and get granted the opportunity to put a walkway in. It's the same thing that we run into with sidewalks, folks wanting sidewalks in areas. You would have to get everybody along a projected path to agree to sell or allow that path to be put in. And if you've got 100 homes just on one side of a potential trail and 100 on the other, even if you get one or two that says, no, I'm not going to do it, I mean, there's obviously that break in the path. I mean, sure. So it's a lot harder and more difficult than
it needs to be.
The interest is there, the potential is there, the desire is there. We just got to get easements or funds to reach or to be able to meet the requested sales price that certain companies or individuals would want.
Pretty astronomical.
Yeah, occasionally we apparently have the decimal in the wrong spot.
Love that for negotiations.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Next question is actually from the live chat. It's from Jacob on live chat. Is there any update on the splash pad / updates at Jackson Morrow Park?
Yes. So we had to design, we had to get water, believe it or not, we had to get water to that area of Jackson Morrow. And so as we started working with Indiana American Water, because although folks say, oh, we're on city water, it's actually Indiana American Water. And so they are the ones that would provide that. And so when we started talking to them about running it to Jackson Morrow, we realized the interest that we were beginning to get along pipeline. So between Jackson Morrow and, say, Half Moon and the Lucas Furniture down in that area, we decided to work with them to design not just water there to Jackson Morrow for bathrooms and the splash pad, but down pipeline. So we're getting close to final design with that. Our hope is to have the splash pad and bathrooms, because we wanted bathrooms there as well as the splash pad, but have that designed and under bid yet by end of summer, first part of fall. So the actual facility for restrooms as well as the splash pad will probably be a late spring of 25 project.
Got it. Okay.
But it's coming.
All right. Next question also comes from live chat from Annette, who was showing out earlier. And honestly, this question is about, it sounds like possibly a ongoing case or investigation with KPD. Annette says, why hasn't Brant Perry, which I want to be specific, that is a Brant Perry who is an attorney in Kokomo, not a former judge. Or is that's not the same person, is it?
It could be the same person.
Okay.
I don't know if there's more than one Brant Perry in town.
Yeah, I believe that is the same person.
It is the same person.
Okay, so he was a former judge, but now has retired from his judgeship.
Okay. Why hasn't Brant Perry been investigated for corruption? Why hasn't his client been charged for throwing kilos of meth out of the car in a high-speed pursuit? Look it up, 4/20/2022. KPD chased this guy and caught him with the meth. How can they let him off free just because he's a snitch? Everyone knows about this. I didn't know about it. It's not right. Where's the accountability? Annette on live chat.
Okay. So, yeah, in cases like that, especially if there are multiple years, I mean, once KPD has done their work, their reports, and got the evidence and turned it over to the county, over to the prosecutor's office, I mean, there's not anything else that the city is required to do unless they would need to reopen the case within KPD in order to get more information. But I don't know enough about that one to be able to speak to it, but I do know that if it's something that's been turned over to the courts since 2022, that the city only has so much. I mean, we have no control over the court system.
Yeah,
I mean that would be the county, but at the same time, any further action in that particular case would come from the prosecutor's office.
Okay, so. There you go. And the last question we have today comes from Kyle Gibson on live chat. So
that name sounds familiar.
Prepare yourselves for this one.
Uh-oh.
How many beers is the mayor planning on having at the Brews on Buckeye this year?
That's hard to tell.
I remember Brews on Buckeye are the small beers. They're like the little sample cups.
Because there's such a wide variety of libations available. It's hard to say what the ratio of beers versus bourbons would be.
Ooh, yeah.
So temperature may even come into play. The time of my arrival may come into play.
There's a lot of factors.
If they have that kicking New Orleans style street band back again, so the amount of dancing may come into play there too. So
weren't there bagpipes one year too? Didn't
probably
there were bagpipes.
Yeah, like a full Irish bagpipe band was there.
There's always something cool there.
A little surprise music moment.
You guys can check it out, July 27th.
July 27th. No, I mean, if the mechanical bull's back, that doesn't come into play because I will not get on that.
Yeah, we had some issues with that a few years ago.
Yeah, that probably.
I could count how many issues we had on one hand.
One individual couldn't.
Yeah.
So
anyway, stay tuned to the Kokomo Post for more.
Can't wait. Thank you, Kyle, for doing that, as well as for continuing to provide the Riverwalk concert series as well. It's a wonderful addition to the summer concert series, and our fingers crossed there wasn't a question that came in, and I thought maybe he would throw into the timing on the Dora. Hopefully that's been at the state. We sent it to the state to begin with to try and what we thought speed up the process. They drug their feet, so we went ahead and passed it the 2 readings we needed to with council and sent it to the state, so the state ATC has that. And so fingers crossed, it'd be super if it came before the 27th. So we'll poke them here in the next week or two.
But it's a potential that it could be before the 27th?
I hope so. The state has had it for close to a month now.
Okay, right on.
So
what are you doing, state? We got Brews on Buckeye.
And it's not like there's been hundreds of communities there. I mean, we're like one of, maybe 5 that I think are in the, but it may not be. So I'm going to poke them.
Gotcha.
Thanks again, Kyle.
All right, so those are the questions for today. If you have any questions for the mayor, you can always leave it in the chat. I always go back to the previous show to make sure I don't miss any, as well as we post out something every time the day of the show to get a lot of those pre-show questions, because a lot of those questions today happened, way before the show started. So thank you for that. Like, you can find us on Facebook, actually X, Instagram, Reddit. You can write into our website, or you can always email Aaron at thekokomopost.com. That is ERIN at THEKOKOMOPOST.com.
Love it.
Mr. Mayor, do you have a dad joke for us today?
Sure. Well, we were talking about railroads. So, and obviously you could probably tell that I'm just a little frustrated in time, but God love them. Railroad tracks even get angry all the time.
The actual tracks?
The actual tracks do, yeah.
I didn't know they had emotions.
Well, yeah, they do. I mean, people are crossing them all the time.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show here on the Kokomo Post. Once again, partner with Robert Miller and Son Furniture. Go get that Smith Brothers furniture. 30% off right now. You will not regret it. Really high quality at a great price. They always have the lowest prices here in Kokomo. Thanks for watching, Kokomo. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching and chatting, even you, Annette. And we'll talk to you. We'll see you next time.
See you, Kokomo.